I just hate it so much. But anyway.
Yeah, so I'm not a huge fan, really, of most of these picks. Tyler Shelvin out of LSU, a really good defensive tackle. I don't hate that pick. Not a fan of Joseph Asai. If you're drafting a Big 12 defensive player in the first 5 rounds, you're drafting stupid. For the most part. unless they're Baylor defensive players or TCU defensive players. But Joseph Asai, I never saw anything from him with teams giving up 55 points a game that I thought, this is the marquee example. You know?
And they definitely needed, to address the D-line for sure. So I don't mind just kind of getting a bunch of guys and see if cream rises to the top.
A kicker. They picked a kicker.
Yeah. Their late pick that I do like is Chris Evans, the running back. Lot of rookie measurables for a running back there that look really good. Late round steal in dynasty drafts potentially, because he looks like he could translate really, really well to the NFL based on a lot of analysis that I've looked at.
I only like it for one reason, and that's because I have a football card of his that if he plays well, will probably be worth like $30. Other than that, he played at Michigan. Boo. He's behind Joe Mixon. Good luck.
I don't think Mixon's that good anymore. Too many injuries. No.
We'll see. I still think Joe Mixon is obviously... I don't think he's worried about a 6th-round running back taking his job, Although James Robinson, undrafted, it does happen. But honestly, one pick on here that I like, and that's Tyler Shelvin. Everything else, I'm like, They addressed the line with Carmen. Should have been 41 picks sooner. Deontay Smith, it should have been 134 picks sooner that they addressed the offensive line. So really, I think what's holding me back, and this might be an issue for me with how I grade, is I'm just going to be looking at what they have for offensive line picks and think it's terrible because it should have been 100 and some picks sooner that they addressed it. You shouldn't be addressing your biggest need in the 2nd round if you have a top 5 pick. It's not like you're missing out on the top 5 offensive linemen and there's a big drop-off. You're literally able to get any lineman you want. You can get any player you want outside of 4 of them. You couldn't get Trevor Lawrence. You couldn't get Zach Wilson. You couldn't get Trey Lance. You couldn't get Kyle Pitts. Literally everyone else is on the board. Literally everyone else. And you went with a wide receiver. So for me, I guess Shelvin's keeping it at a C- for me instead of a D+. They did really bad. They did a terrible job, in my opinion.
Yeah, I was at C to C-. Again, a lot of these guys I don't have a ton of issues with. It's just you have to use your draft capital. You have to use it wisely, and regardless of best player available or going for team needs, Jamar Chase was the wrong pick there.
It wasn't even a need.
That doesn't mean he's not going to be a great player, but you have that pick. He falls there. You should be on the phone making a trade because there are a ton of teams that would have looked hard at Jamar Chase, would have given you a lot of draft capital this year and future draft capital, and you wasted it. And now he's looking bad in camp. He's losing value. It's a C- for me as well.
Mm-hmm. Dan Beebe?
I give him an F for just that reasoning there.
The first F?
F, yeah, because they should have seen that opportunity to get something for the trade.
Seriously. Even if they didn't want to really trade and they wanted to pick in that 5th spot, seriously, offensive lineman should have been their pick. Then it should have been defensive player. whether that's, you reach a little bit and you take Patrick Surtain 2 spots before he was, actually drafted, or J.C. Horn, not Surtain. You take J.C. Horn. They don't need a wide receiver. They don't need one. Well,
it just seemed like
let's move on. We're taking too much time with the Bengals. Let's move on.
I agree. Moving on now to the Cleveland Browns. Oh, that's the other thing. If the Bengals were drafting at 5 because of a trade they made 2 years ago with the Miami Dolphins or whatever, and they were a winning record in the playoffs team, and they're like, you know what? I think we can forego an offensive lineman for now and take Jamar Chase. That would be okay. If the Browns, we're talking about a stacked team right now with the Browns, so it's like night and day difference. The Browns can afford to make bad picks. The Bengals cannot. Speaking of bad picks, I'm just kidding. I'll save it. Round 1, Greg Newsome, the cornerback. Round 2, Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, killer on Madden Ultimate Team. Pick City. He's so good. Round 3, wide receiver Anthony Schwartz. Round 4, James Hudson III. Round 4, Tommy Togiai. Round 5, linebacker Tony Fields. Round 5, safety Richard LeCounte. And round 6, running back Demetric Felton. Greg Newsome from Northwestern, really good pick. Love it. Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, strong linebacker, fast. He's in 27 games. I'm looking at some of his stats now. 27 games at Notre Dame, 142 tackles, only 5 forced fumbles, recovered 4. But man, was he all over the board, or all over the field in those games. He's like one of 2 players from Notre Dame this year that I actually really liked. Moving on, Anthony Schwartz. I feel like it was a little too early for them to look at a wide receiver because, again, they've got Donovan Peoples-Jones, they've got Jarvis Landry, they got Odell Beckham Jr., they've got 2 tight ends that are both very good. So, unless they're yeah, I think they are. I think I
like Hooper, but I didn't think he was that impressive last year. And then Njoku looks like I don't know what happened to him. He was a fantasy breakout for a year. He was all over the place. Looked like he was going to be like the next freaking Greg Kittle or something. And then he's been a ghost.
Yeah.
Anyway, keep going.
And they also have Harrison Bryant, so they've got tight end depth. Their receiving is fine. I don't know why they would have addressed receiving so early on. But again, this is another team, or this is a team, like I said a little bit ago, they have the luxury of being able to make questionable picks because what areas of need do they really have? Their offensive line is solid. They've got 2 top 10 running backs in that backfield. They've got Baker Mayfield. They've got really good wide receivers. They got solid tight ends. That defense is scary. What area of need do they have?
I think they needed defense, and I think they addressed it pretty well, especially at their biggest need, which was linebacker. Owusu-Koramoah is probably my favorite pick of theirs. He was expected to go in the first. He's versatile as all hell. They can play him as a safety. They can play him as a linebacker, or anything in between. He's not going to be playing cornerback or anything, and he's not going to be playing off the edge unless it's a blitz package. But he was very impressive in college and looks like he's got, he'll find a niche in the NFL for sure. If he doesn't work at one position, he's got the speed for the other. He's got the strength for the other one. Whichever pans out, you can play him as. So I really love that pick.
I would like to say. Sorry, go on.
I was just going to say that they also got Tony Fields for depth at linebacking. Not terrible.
Togiai on the D-line.
Sorry?
They also got that kid from Ohio State, Togiai, at D-line.
Yeah, for D-line. They didn't. Not a need. That's a depth pick, I think.
Mm-hmm.
This is again one of those things that you touched on right there. When you don't have a lot of needs, you have a lot of luxury on who you can pick, and you can pick the guys that you think are falling past where they should. You can go BPA, and you can go with your favorites regardless of where you are, and they did it well. This is one of my favorite drafts. Certainly of the division. It's definitely up there with the NFL as a whole. Certainly top 10, maybe even top 5 in my opinion.
Yeah, I'd like to say Jeremiah Owusu Koromoa is my favorite pick of theirs, but I just love Greg Newsome. I've been watching him. His entire career at Northwestern.
Was such a steal.
I'm so excited to watch him play in the NFL. Being a Big Ten fan, I watch more Big Ten games than other games, and he is by far the most exciting part of Northwestern's team. By far, he's one of my favorite players in this draft. I'm so pumped to watch him. And like we were saying, the Browns, something just popped into my head when you were talking about how the Browns are a good team. They were having to figure out if they need Myles Garrett on the field for some plays because he was injured, away from beating the Chiefs to go to the AFC Championship game. So, it's definitely a different story. And you're right, just such a good draft. I don't hate any pick. I just don't like the Anthony Schwartz pick because I feel like this is another spot they should have added depth at. Probably corner, maybe safety, but still solid draft. Nothing glaringly wrong like the Raiders or the Bengals. So grade, I'll go A-.
I give them an A. No way I can say that they're top 10, maybe even top 5 with anything less than an A. Not quite an A plus. But I liked it. I like Schwartz again. Possibly sleeper for deep leagues for dynasty. Probably not a sleeper for a redraft league this year. But
the only reason that
they're not going to want to pay. They're not going to want to renew Odell's contract, I bet, unless he's willing to take a serious pay cut. So there's going to be some room in that receiving core next year or the year after.
There have been rumblings that OBJ might get traded this year as a cap casualty. Yeah,
and I wouldn't be surprised by that one bit. I think that would be a really smart move if they can get decent value back.
Which sucks because you can just tell watching him play in Cleveland or just even being on the sidelines in Cleveland, he likes being on the Browns way more than he likes being a Giant. But regardless, I say A-. Dan O'Shea, you say A. Dan Beebe.
A-.
Yeah. For me, it's that Schwartz pick. Again, they didn't do anything wrong. They just didn't do something right with that pick, in my opinion.
I just slightly disagree because of the cap thing. They're looking toward the future, and you draft wideouts a year ahead of when you think you'll need them. Because again, it's them and tight ends. They take more adjusting to the NFL. Quarterbacks arguably too, but there's actually a surprising amount of rookie quarterback success. Rookie running backs tend to kind of fit right in. So I don't hate that pick at all because again, I think Odell is gone sooner than later. If not this year, then next year, and then Schwartz fits right in there, and he's good. I like him. I like him a lot.